Hey, quick disclaimer on episode 105 here. It's a mess. We're a mess. We don't know what we're doing. We're naive and immature and learning a lot and changing our minds. But Pop, I think we want to put this out because it's important. Because again, I don't think we're unique in all these bad takes we had.
No, terrible takes all around. This is a cringeworthy episode, but it's important. I can't force myself to watch it anymore. I didn't want to see it. Then I'm like, we should probably shoot an intro because we sound terrible. We sound like dicks. A lot of what we say, just ignore us, take it for the lesson that it is, and don't get too cocky and let your ego get too heavy.
I've learned something here, and I've shared it with you, and it's this notion that one-way communication is dangerous. Email, Slack, and text, really dangerous because you can't read body language. You can't see how someone reacts. You can't correct things on the fly. So what happens when you give a lot of one-way communication, which is all we were doing at the time, is it allows people behind the scenes to become defensive, spiral, get angry. And so you're only supposed to give one-way communication. You're only supposed to do that if it's 100% positive feedback. And we were doing like 50-50 positive, negative stuff on one-way communication.
I was 100 negative.
100% negative.
I was bad.
So anyway, listen to this, learn from our mistakes. And
it's cost us a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, hey, learn from us. Don't lose the money. And that's why we're putting it out there. So
that too.
Enjoy.
All right.
Welcome back to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about entrepreneurship, self-development, challenging norms, and the gossip within this company, baby. We're back. We're shooting back-to-back. I think we'll just shoot all day long.
Here's the problem.
Pod.
When I hear that Call Her Daddy gets $60 million, we become a gossip podcast.
How about that? I was thinking, so we're trying to figure out what's the balance of calling out our bad clients and not. I'm like, Call Her Daddy does it. She'll call out everyone. She'd be like, I glucked him,
but
he glucked me.
Realize no one wants to date her because they're going to get called out on the podcast.
True, and she changes all their names.
We change nothing.
We change nothing.
We
We don't give last names. We need like a Mr. Sexy Zoom Man. Those are actually funny too. Let's come up with a name for Scott. Mr. Sexy Cop.
Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean.
See, I feel like that guy's name is Scott. Mr. Clean. You know, like fucking.
Maybe. Hey, what we're going to do right now, because we didn't want to get it in the last episode, that was just too much Thomas Edison juice. We got a couple problems to talk about.
A lot of
all
juice coming out of every
With all the good stuff happening and the juice coming out of all the orifices, there's your thumbnail. We got problems. We got problems.
Don't look at me like that.
Should I kick it off?
Hey, here's why I like gossip, okay? Gossip's good.
Oh,
it serves a
gossip
purpose.
is thought poison. We should disclaimer.
No. Okay, here's why gossip's necessary. Granted, everyone listening to this isn't going to run into this problem, but it's like you need gossip because that's the ancient review system. That was, hey, this dude's a little sketchy. Stay away from him. Or that chick's got the clap. I wouldn't go near her. That sort of gossip, that's good because that's just how the world functioned of like stay away from them, hang out with them. And that's basically what we're saying. Like some of these people that we're working with, if you're like us and don't like working with often cocks, like people
Were
that
the
are
cocks?
No, they are.
Oh, okay, nice.
Some of them are nice. They'll have their ups and their downs. But like here's just the honest review of what it's like to work with these people. And I think it's like a good behind the scenes of.
I think it's a hilarious segment. If you're gonna be a dunce, we're going to call you out.
Okay,
we would probably
to...
expect the same, right?
Yeah, what would they say about us?
If you dated Alex Cooper and you were a dunce, it'd be kind of funny if she called you out. Or you would just expect to, like you said. So don't be bad.
Okay.
Don't be a bad client.
Okay. We got a couple.
Okay.
We got a couple.
I got one or two.
You start with I feel like yours is juicier, hotter, fresher.
In what episode it is fresh? In what episode were we talking about the hustle peeps? And we got that really passive aggressive email to you. Doesn't matter what episode it is. Listen back. There was a really passive aggressive email. The audacity.
I think was that 10.
It was.
That was 100. That was 100.
That was 100. That's a funny way to do 100, but that was 100. The audacity was Mr. Sexy Scott Man from The Hustle basically being like, never in my 10 plus years of this, that, and the other have I seen any goons like you guys acting the way you do and all these things. And then you respond to him with the...
I hit him with a fuckload of winky faces,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like, glad to be your first, winky face.
Yeah.
This is how I'm taking his virginity in the business world. Like, fuck that guy. So...
See, now the expectation should be Scott should go record a podcast and he can talk about your winky faces.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I asked Henry... I asked Belky last night, honestly. Like, hey, put ourselves in Scott's shoes right now. What does he think of us? Why is he responding? Because I got some emails, like some follow-ups that are similarly douchebag.
Is that a depletion of energy? Here's what I wanted to say in the last episode. In post, right above the smart nonsense sign, I just want the T meter. I want it always there just floating. Because there was a lull in the middle of last episode where you could just see that thing going to empty. And then you had to transition. And it was like... and we were live.
Hey,
So
okay.
just, bow.
Yeah, maybe that's... that would be funny. Just have, like, Ren's just like, hey, just wherever you think the T meter's at, keep it there. And then we'll figure it out. But, no, T meter. Let's bring it back. So he basically hit us back with some more douchebaggery. And we're like, yo, what the fuck? What is he actually thinking? Like, why is he being like this? Is that just his business persona? I hope not. No. But what we came to the conclusion is he's just mad with the young bloods being hot shits. He doesn't like that.
Probably.
He doesn't like causing a ruckus. You like causing a ruckus.
Yeah, he doesn't like causing a ruckus. But have we talked on here about the no meetings thing? Your email? About what his response saying HubSpot's not your ideal client?
Hey, well, most people probably don't listen to full-blown episode every episode.
I know, but that's an important email for what I'm about to say.
Oh, you want context.
I want some
I
context.
like how you tell me as the podcast is happening.
Yes, sir.
I don't have...
Search Scott.
I don't know how Gmail works.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll paraphrase. Basically, no, we didn't talk about them pulling my first $1 million.
Oh, did we not?
We didn't
That
talk-
did happen pretty recently. I guess we probably didn't.
No, I was away. Did we talk about that yesterday?
Oh, yeah,
Hey!
we shot those 2 weeks ago. We haven't talked about shit, huh? Hey, we got more gossip than we thought. Okay.
Our first and only client. They're on the way out the door. That's what's
Fuck
happening.
yeah.
So Scott comes back to the there's some
Scott.
there's some back and forth between you and Scott, and ultimately he's like, "Hey, oh my God, no, you took that risk while I was in Iceland."
I did take that risk. Oh, fuck yeah. I can't find shit. I don't know where Scott is. But, okay, I'll summarize the risk. You just look through that really quick.
Tell him
Basically,
the risk.
So Henry's gone, and now Henry, we basically separate our clients, and we're like, okay, you're roughly responsible for these handful of clients. I'll take the other side. And one of Henry's clients was my first $1 million because I got sick of their shit, and I'm like, fuck them, I'm out. But Henry was out, so I'm like, okay, I got to cover. So I come into my first $1 million, and pretty much like everything's smooth, and then one day it's just fucking nightmare. I get like a bunch of DMs from their producer who's just he's like always on top of shit, and he's like, yo, call me ASAP. And I'm like, dude, it's 7 a.m. You're lucky I'm up. What the fuck do you want? And he's like, dude, I just need to talk to you right now. I'm like, yo, we're in the chat. We're talking right now. Just let me know. And he's like, no, what's your number? So he finally calls me, and he's like, dude, we just published the episode, and like the audio is bad. I need you to fix it. And I'm like, well, everyone's sleeping on our team. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to fix it? And he's like, well, I mean, we just gotta like add in some of the ads and like do some really quick cuts. And I'm like, who do you think I am? I don't do this. We have set hours. And granted, they were our first client, so they never like got indoctrinated with the rule book. So that's part of the issue. But I was basically like, all right, fuck it. You clearly don't know what you're doing. I'll just do this stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I had to learn how to become an audio engineer in like 10 minutes. I spend the next couple hours, derails my whole day. And I'm like, yo, fuck this whole thing. It's only because Sam couldn't upload his shit until like the morning of, and then there was a sync issue. So like no one was online. Just a
Not
big
your
kerfuffle.
kitchen sink.
I didn't like it at all. So I told them off. Oh yeah, you're looking
You
for
didn't
it.
tell him off. You were just like, guys, this isn't how we work. Here's how we need to work moving forward. Here's how we can fix this. And y'all should, like, we don't produce full podcasts. We did it for Sam and Sean as a courtesy because we wanted to get our foot in the door. A lot of shit has changed in 5-6 months.
I said, and I quote, Sam, today sucked for you, me, and especially Dan. The good news is bad shit forces change. And then I just go, I'm like, okay, here's our rule book. We only work these hours. The main problem is tight deadlines. Here are 3 solutions. Keep being ahead of an episode, like keep an episode in the bank, or hire an in-house team for the full episodes.
Action oriented, as they say.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like, here's the problem, here's the solution. He goes through and he's like, thank you. He had some shitty points. He's like, yo, I think start with 3, as in hire in-house. I'm like, fine, I don't give a fuck. I would recommend the same thing. I'm like, you're right, that in-house team makes sense. I would do the same thing. I think I'm really concerned if they're going to be as good as us, but whatever, like rip it. So that's where we left it. And we don't really hear back from Sam. You're gone, so you're not really checking in. And the next email that we get is from Scott.
Not on a thread, not related to anything. Hey, Dylan and Henry, effective 10/1, effective October 1st.
So in like 2 weeks.
HubSpot's content team is taking over the MFM video and podcast audio budget 100%. After reviewing your rulebook, they concluded your practices don't align with their needs and expectations. So they're shifting budget, but we at The Hustle still want to work with you, yada, yada, yada. But it has to be monthly. That's a no-no in the rulebook.
Right, our contract is, hey, it's 6-month contracts, and you pay half of that up front, and then the other half halfway through.
Because we build teams around our clients. And we can't, like, the flexible month-to-month thing, it just doesn't work because there's too much shuffling. No one can really get into they're not invested.
We're just dope. We know we're dope. And a lot of our stuff, it takes, like, a couple months before actually a lot of the game, unless you're doing paid ads, a lot of the, like, momentum builds to be worth it.
You want to know the best part?
Okay.
It's worth, quote, and I quote, it's worth calling out the no meetings and rulebook are what hurt us all on this. But if that's a hard stance, HubSpot isn't the right type of client.
Okay, I'll take that.
You'll take that? Do you know where no meetings comes from?
Do I? You want to read my message now?
Oh, yeah, hold on. So they want to continue at a slightly smaller budget monthly.
Right. I basically, I keep saying to Scott, because everyone wants to get on meetings, and I'm like, dude, nothing's ever meeting worthy, ever. And so then we hit him back here.
You hit him back. Sounds like the rulebook is doing its job, winky. That probably hurt us.
I'm still for it.
I
didn't know he was such a hardo.
Maybe, yeah. I just think tone isn't transmitted.
Yeah.
Like, you would have, like, elbowed him in the arm.
I'm
and like
yeah.
Yeah, right. You said, we recommended that, taking it in-house, so that's smart. We also, like, we're biased, but they should create MFM clips for YouTube, like we do for Dharmesh. But that's up to them.
Dharmesh, keep in mind, Dharmesh is the CTO, co-founder, recent billionaire. Yes. He runs HubSpot. He built their culture. So it's like, okay, by the way, we're also his client.
P.S.
Hit him with the P.S.
P.S. Funny enough, this is Dylan, by the way, okay? Funny enough, Dylan says, we took inspiration for, quote, no meetings from Dharmesh. Links Dharmesh's blog post, which he sent to us, which we immediately enacted as law at Smart Nonsense
What
Media
is the
when
URL?
we saw it. SorryNoCalls.com.
SorryNoCalls.com.
And he lays out like 10 or 15 reasons he does not get on the phone. He gets pressured into doing things. He's a bad negotiator. He doesn't know how to do small talk. He doesn't know how to hang up. It's a waste. This is the co-founder of HubSpot, and this yawn.
It's like, HubSpot's not the right client. Oh, really? How about the guy that made it is the right client? He's the one that created the rule book that your company supposedly doesn't
compound that
work
with
with.
none of these people are talking internally.
Oh.
So then, what ends up happening?
Wait. We gotta get into the recent Scott ones.
We will, but let me just say,
Okay.
we end up becoming the liaison between 3 factions of their team.
This has been happening for months too.
It's
They
like,
have
what?
no idea what's going on.
So do you have other
But it makes
stuff?
sense because
And then I'm gonna go to
fucking
Sam.
Sam's kind of a scatterbrain too. So, God, I hope they listen to this. So Scott said, "Oh, you read the."
Don't do we only do this if we have to. We have so many
Right.
nice people we love. And by the
So-
way, we love these guys, but they're just being silly.
Oh, so you didn't? Okay, this is the same thread. So you didn't read his response to that yet.
No.
The are you open to?
Oh, he didn't answer the most important question.
Right.
So the most important question is Dylan asking for feedback.
Right. In that email, I was like, to clarify, like, basically they said, hey, MFM doesn't want to work with you. The Hustle does because your paid ads are the shit. And I'm like, okay, to clarify, what's keeping HubSpot from formalizing your budget? As in, why can't we do this long term? Results, approvals, or something else? That was like the final me signing off sort of thing. And he responds.
The only question. That was the only action item in the email.
He's like, responds.
Ignores
4 days later. Are you open to running month to month at 10K? If not, unfortunately, we'll need to pause things out. Pause things out is the most retarded phrase I've ever heard. But
we say the R word on here now, huh?
There's so much more you could cancel me for. Okay. Here's what I don't like. I've been reading a lot of radical honesty. Okay. Honestly, I'm going to bring you down with me. Every one of my friends
I know,
uses
all of my friends
the
do
R
too.
word a lot. It's just like, hey, that's retarded. I'm sorry. We used it like all our lives, and you're just going to use another synonym for being stupid.
Hey, that's something we should link. The Radical Honesty blog post.
That's it. No one could read it, though. It made me upset because it's like paywalled or whatever.
Oh, on Esquire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to balance. He wrote that in 2007. This is a separate point.
No, part of that's transition. That's where one of the transitions was into Zach and honesty. But regardless, whatever. He's like, he'll have to pause things out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, we're open to it, but we'd like to know at what point HubSpot is confident in establishing a long-term relationship. We've been working together for 6+ months on a month-to-month basis. Are they not happy with the results of the video ads, or is there some other success metric that we haven't hit? This will help us perform better going forward.
That's where it stands. But then I message Sam Parr, who apparently doesn't talk to the CEO or his like co-CEO. They're like handing things off.
Sam Parr used to run the Hustle, and now
I asked him yesterday. I'm like, you do understand? Sam, who loves the clips, loves being on them. He brought us on, like, wanted to help us out in the first place. I'm like, are you aware that we're done producing clips for you all October 1st? He says no. Says who? Like, okay.
Says who?
I sent a question mark late last night because we didn't get anything. So he talks to Scott. He said, it sounds like you guys wouldn't do anything less than a 6-month commit, so we switch vendors, which is a bummer. And also wouldn't do meetings, question mark? I'm like, Sam, when have we ever met with you?
Dude, this is so funny, dude.
When have we ever met with Sam?
It's like, okay, because I was talking to that producer from earlier, and Dan's like, yo, the irony is we've been trying to get them to do monthly review meetings for so long. I can go back in the archives like, yo, guys, you want to do a meeting?
That's
like,
hilarious.
Let's review all the content. And they'll just fucking ghost us.
That's hilarious. I forgot.
Can we just copy and paste, be like, yo, try to set up the meeting here?
We
You guys never
literally
responded.
failed at setting up so many meetings. Then we see our message. Like, we don't do them.
It's so okay. Now I'm actually angry. I'm like hypocrisy is so. It's just fucking grinds my gears more than anything else. It's like, oh, suddenly this is a big deal. Whereas the last 6 months, supposedly a 6-month contract is. Sam was the one that came to me and was like, dude, HubSpot's gonna want to do a fucking 6-month contract.
And on top of that, you know how many times their asses have been saved by not being contracted to pay us?
That's why they're worried now.
I suppose.
But it's like how much
We've saved them years of money by not having the original $35,000 6-month
what did you
contract.
respond to that?
Nothing yet. That was just this.
Oh, that was
just now. Just now, hypocrisy.
Can we actually like? I know it's a lot. It's too try hard, but I want to send them every snippet where like, hey, can we get on the phone? Can we get on the phone? Can we get on the phone? And it's just like,
It's just not worth our. It's probably not worth our time.
no, it's definitely not. Be like, there's something
just-
there.
yeah.
Hey, you'll have to tune in for the next hot gossip episode. Where
I'm getting hot.
it's just really frustrating.
Excuse
and,
me.
I don't know. Well, we're still debating whether we're gonna like make a sacrifice on the rule book for them because they're our first client, but they're also treating us like shit for a
It's
while.
so funny because they are like the idyllic rulebook client, and they have been the whole time.
It's only like when they see it formalized, it's suddenly like taking away their liberty. Like they just like the idea that they could, in theory, get us on the phone, which they still can. Like,
Yeah, if there's good enough reason, we'll get on the phone with anyone.
It's
And this is also like Naval also doesn't do coffee, does no phone calls. He's like, you have to ruthlessly tell people no. Because so much of these meetings and phone calls, they derail your day. You plan your day around them. They waste your time. They're ineffective. None of these people do phone calls.
I just wish if they had the excuse, If they're like, hey, we just need someone available around the clock. Fine, we can't do that. We told you, these are our hours. We can't be like editing videos 24/7. I mean, no one can. But like if you need it in Eastern Standard Time, that's fine. But if you're like, hey, why can't we do meetings anymore? What do you mean anymore? We never did fucking meetings. We tried to do them, but you didn't want to do them. So it's like, there it is.
Breathe.
So we're gonna follow up there. Do
These
something
episodes
juicy.
might get too fiery.
Talk
Talk about derail the day. I'm gonna be pacing after this.
Hey, we got another client to talk about. Okay,
Zach attack.
Zachariah. Here's this guy, Zach. Okay, we've talked about him before. He reached out in like June, or I don't fucking remember what month. But we finally got on the phone in July, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to shoot this thing. He referenced like Nathaniel Drew, which is a cool guy on YouTube, just like does stories and stuff like that. But he's shooting like a vlog style video in his fucking apartment. Super chill. And just has good animations and stuff like that. So he's like, yeah, I want to do something like that. And then over time, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to shoot it. I got to get the studio set up. And I'm like, studio, okay, whatever. He's like, this whole production. He's like, oh, can you guys look at the script? I'm like, not really, but here's some suggestions, whatever. It just becomes this whole like month and a half long process of him trying to shoot like the first episode and like got to get the branding right, got to get everything perfect. And so we're like, yo, what
zero audience.
Zero. Yeah, starting from scratch. I don't even know what the fuck he does. I think he does like website shit for. I don't know what his agency does. It's totally different from what he's done in the past.
It's a passion project.
It's a passion project that somehow he would spend $15,000 on us and
at a minimum,
plus
right?
whatever the production quality.
Hundreds
like,
of thousands of dollars.
A lot
to
of
produce
fucking money.
thing.
Which okay, I get it. Like you see a masterclass and you're like, I can do that. Why don't I do that? Henry, what's fun? Belky, what's funny? When we first talked to him on the phone back in like July or June, whenever it was, you were like, yo, first I hate history, so like I don't want to do this in the first place. But second, I just like you got weird feelings about him, or like he was boring, or like he was kind of like just.
It was just gut. It was
the cut was.
It was just a bad fit.
Hey, what's gonna be
based on
funny
gut.
is if we were working with Zach when this comes out, but.
No, that was just me personally, and that was at a time where we were making the rulebook. We were calling out a lot of gut problems.
Right.
We were going down this full body yes thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, immediately, I'm like, either, I don't know if it's the content's not for me or, sorry, here's what it was. No, I'm not going to go straight. Yeah.
It was
he said, give it to me straight, which historically, anyone who said that does not take it straight.
That should just be the rule. Yeah. If you have to verbally say, give it to me straight, that means we intuitively don't trust you enough to give it to you straight.
But then those people, when you give it to them straight, they selectively hear and turn things back on you. Then they want to get on the phone with you and pressure. They smooth talk you into doing things.
Oh, because he said, can we just get on the phone? Oh, because we tried to like.
Oh!
He had postponed and he never paid anything. So we're like, yo, you're signing up like 2 months after we first talked. Like, this is our new pricing. And he's like, what, you're going to up the prices on me right when it happens? And like, I mean, for everybody.
After you've been pinging him weekly,
I know.
Where's the content? Where's the content?
Which
Where's the
I
content?
get because he finally made like an amazing production, which is awesome. Here's the problem though. Okay, so we finally get around and he still hasn't paid, even though we're not supposed to work until we're paid, but we're like,
it's an exception.
Fuck it.
We
We'll
shouldn't
like
make exceptions.
we'll like slightly postpone, partly because I think he's nervous and for good reason, like, oh, can these people actually do it? Meanwhile, we're the best editors. We know we can do it.
Yeah.
They just don't trust us. So now we start doing like their first video. And they're just micromanaging the shit out of the video.
We're on V7 of the intro. Of the intro. It's 50 seconds.
And the time cuts. So it's like a 10 to 15 minute video. And we're like time cutting it.
Blocking.
And it's fucking miserable for everyone involved. Like Tony, literally everyone on our team.
Tony is the best.
I know.
Tony is the best. Tony, if you're listening, you're probably not listening to this. We
hope not.
keep squashing Tony.
I feel really she's just been defeated. Like I could see every time I talked to her, and I got on the phone a couple times because it was like that situation.
Is that bad?
She's just like
you
really
guys
concerned.
Okay.
And I could tell like she just her demeanor just got worse and worse. So I'm like, fuck. I'm not gonna let this motherfucker destroy our team. And we're like,
no,
yo,
Tony's
Zach,
like world class.
Absolutely, better English than both of us, and just an amazing editor. So she could
organized,
just fucking perfect human being, and we're letting him destroy her. And I'm like, yo, dude, I I know I sent you the rule book. This is our rule book. I don't know if your team's read it because you have like fucking 10 people somehow working on this. But read the rule book and make sure they're all on board. And he's like, I agree. We feel like we're over micromanaging. I'm like, okay,
They said that?
yeah.
Oh, that's good and
But
bad.
no, it's bad because that means they don't trust us
Right.
enough. There's zero trust. And it's like, that's also probably why he hasn't paid. Because like, I don't actually trust that these people can do it for 6 months.
We got to get out of there, Pop.
I know. So now we're on fucking like V7 of this thing. And I'm like, yo,
Version
Tony.
7.
Yeah, version 7. I'm like, Tony, like just, I know you like being nice.
I'm sorry. We do one review. We release version 2 of things. That is the rule. That is the baseline. That's we.
And
put
often we
shit
don't even
out.
let clients see.
That is why version 7 is so ridiculous.
It's for like a normal creative, this is probably like, oh, version 7. That normally
Granted,
goes out.
watch version 1, watch version 7. It is leaps and bounds better. However, version 7 is not that much better than version 4.
So here's the
and
problem.
3.
I realized I was being I don't like using big words, but like shirking. Like I wasn't doing my
Shirking's a great
responsibilities.
word.
It's like I just see like this 12-minute breakdown video come in from Team Zach, Untold team. And it'd come in and I'm like, yo, Tony will just have it handled. Like that was kind of the idea. Like Tony's a beast. She can just take it on. But then Tony's like, hey, I have all these concerns. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we're doing a lot of revisions. Like what's up? She's like, well, did you look at the breakdowns? Like they're sending multiple breakdown videos for each revision. And
They're recording feedback videos like on Loom.
right.
With
Which
multiple people being like, here's my feedback. There it is.
I know. And when you have that many cooks in the kitchen, everyone's going to have their own little like, oh, this version, this person gives feedback. The second version, this person does. And it's like, fuck
And then
everything.
someone didn't see versions 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then they see 7, and they want to go back to 3,
Right.
which happened over at Colin.
Okay. And keep in mind, gossip's only bad when you're like only doing it behind people's backs. The goal is today I'm going to get on the phone. I'm not finishing the whole story yet, but today I'm going to say this to his face essentially. So that's why this is okay to rant about. At least that's how I'm
Oh, yeah, that's a
rationalizing it.
good Netflix. Is like, if you're going to do all this behind someone's back, one person should be like, well, what did they say when you said that to their face?
Right.
So when you're saying all this stuff, I should be like, well, what did Zach say when you said that to his face?
Right.
That's the gossip metric that Netflix uses that
Yeah.
I think is cool.
And I mean, Scott, we're never going to talk to his face, so fuck him. But Zach, we will later today. But basically, we do all these revisions. Everyone else has their shit. But my problem was where I went wrong is I didn't review everything. And I think for every new client, we should be like super hands-on and just at least seeing everything. We don't necessarily talk to the client, but we're like aware of what our team is going through. I wasn't. So I missed like all the feedback cycles. And then what happened was yesterday, Tony's like, yo, I asked Tony, I'm like, hey, are you working on the full episode or like full video?
Was she?
And she said, I'm afraid to because they're cutting out big sections and then adding them back. And I'm like, if I'm going to animate something and it's just destroyed, like, why would I work on it? And I'm like, that's a great point. Let me just like watch the time cut. And the time cut is like the unanimated version. Can I just watch that? And then I'll look at the comments and I'll get back to you. So I do. And I'm watching it and I think, and I'm watching this to like go through and like really, it's like my job to watch this. And I could only make it to minute 5. Oh. So I realized, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yo, Tony, I'm sorry. I'm watching this for the first time. Like, this is the first time I've seen this video. And I know they sent it to us like 2 weeks ago. What do you think of this? And she's like, if I'm being honest, this is so boring. This sucks. Like, I don't want to animate
Dead
this.
ass?
It's, yeah. And I'm like, you're so right. I literally couldn't force
She was the
myself.
most excited to work on this project.
I know.
So
And
that's why she became
did you
captain.
see your little survey? You did a
I haven't
survey with
gone
the
in
team
yet,
and like
no.
no one voted on Untold. I don't know if word on the street got out.
Huh.
So
It's over.
The reason why we're doing all of this is like, hey Zach, when you trust us and give us this freedom, we will work to the bone for you. Like every one of our clients, they're so stoked to work on it because like we let the creative just run wild. It's fun. It's magical. But the problem is when you think you're the shit and you can produce masterclass level shit right out of the gate, and somehow the whole world is gonna have attention on you. You're gonna have these high expectations and be a perfectionist, and you don't want that. That's the enemy of any new creator.
And then I told you yesterday on the creator side, because all these miscommunications are miscommunications are happening now, and I'm like, that's because as a creator, Tony, after you get past version 2, you
check
just say
out.
fuck it.
That's
say
what-
fuck it. Nothing I did mattered.
With Todd, that's what happened with Todd back in the day when we had to fire him as a client because basically they wanted to micromanage everything, and then you just check out, like you're just clocking in as the editor.
Just taking direction literally.
Just tell me what to do. I'm gonna do it, and then fuck it. And then it's like when you let them, like Todd's edits were fucking, relatively speaking, terrible. Absolutely horrible. Why? Because we're the ones directing it. We're not good. Meanwhile, Pal, who was the editor on most of those projects, is now one of our best fucking editors. Like his edits are sick. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know he was, like, I was concerned that he wouldn't be able to transition back and he'd just be like below everyone. He's fucking insane. Like I'm like, dude, just let people run with it. And it's amazing. So that's
forward.
Essentially the conversation I'm going to have with Zach today.
Oh man.
I'm reading Radical Honesty. I like got super into it.
It's a book? Yeah, it is a book.
And Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I reread some chapters last night. I'm just like, okay, Zach, let's separate. Let me know how this sounds because it's been all in my head.
Separate the church
but like
from state?
separate, like nothing personal here. Like you, me, we're taking everything out. Let's just look at like how do we make the channel as successful as possible. Right now, I don't think our strategy is going to work at all. One, because our team can't work with you because you don't trust us and we're not giving you what you want. That's fair. But like, you're not going to get what you want until V5 or like
I think
video
this is
5.
why you're not sleeping.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Actually, might be. I was up reading this last night.
There you go.
So, but I like it. It's good for like having honest conversations. And I want to talk to you about something too at some point. But, so I'm like, Zach, separate ourselves. How do we make this channel as successful as possible? I think you just got to dial everything back. Like, I know you have the money for all this production. I mean, supposedly you got concerned when we mentioned budget, but like, I would say fuck it with all of this. Right now, you're not engaging. The stories are bad. It's not going to be a good video. You're going to put way too much money into it. You're just not there yet. And it's a skill. So it's a teachable skill you will get better at. You're just not, you're not a creator yet. So you got to like go and the same thing that you mentioned with Nathaniel Drew, just get a camera, one camera, get a nice shot behind you, but do it cheap. Like it's literally just the cost of the camera and you can shoot infinite videos. Practice and practice and practice.
You don't have to put them out.
You literally don't.
Get a little editor and just put them together.
Yeah. I'm like,
share it with some family. Be like, is this interesting, entertaining?
But it's people with money that it's kind of like the massive company that just tries to dump money behind something. And it's like, oh, that'll make it work. And it's like, no, if the fucking foundation, if the content is shit and the storyteller, the person telling the content is shit.
Your foundation.
Saying it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you expect this to do well?
It's fugazi.
So it's just going to be one of those.
No, that'll be good. I think he needs that. I think we need that. I think he needs that.
Yeah.
Tony needs that. God.
And Tony's like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I really like working on Ali Abdullah's stuff.
Well, that's what you said yesterday. You're like, all right. And on Cord, like, the opportunity cost here is just absurd.
Right.
There's so many people I'd rather be working with. And we're just
and we
in
don't
the
need the
weeds.
money. So it literally doesn't make sense unless they just like we want you to be successful, Zach. We want you to. But you're never going to be if you think you're going to come out of the box and be
I sent you that good Julian Shapiro tweet about iterating versus doing it perfect. I'm gassed. We got to get out of here, Pop.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I have. We'll have another gossip episode next week.
Hey, the
updates
All In
on all
podcast just DM me. Yo, what's the best email to reach you at? They're a good client. They leave us alone. We are squatting.
Best email?
To
We're going
reach
to get
me
more
at.
business?
Oh, maybe. Maybe we do clips for them. Hey, that'd be cool.
Oh, hold on.
Hold on.
About something.
Hold on. Let me.
Wait, do we have to do another podcast?
Write it down. No, write it down.
No, it's
Write it
something
down.
we have
What
to
is
do
it?
today.
What?
It's busy.
Oh.
It's related to what we want.
I have the tweet for iterating
Okay,
versus
say the
perfection.
tweet.
Oh, my palm exited out. Go. Well, no, this is related.
It's like
Okay,
a
you're going to
whole
hardcore
thing.
change. Okay, Julian Shapiro tweets, it's really important to remember that, 1, making something bad, then iterating until it's good is way faster than making something good up front. And he's got a little diagram.
Perfection through iteration.
Make
not
something
revision.
bad and iterate until it's good. I can hardly watch my videos from a year ago and beyond.
But know
That's
what? What's
fine.
great is that just in the past,
It's-
you went so fast that people can't even keep up, and now they're only seeing the good shit. So
You can't make something good up front.
that's why I'm like okay with being honest, because it's, hey, this is in your best interest. Like when you're giving feedback, if you're making it actionable and aiming to assist, the like half of Netflix thing, that's how you give feedback. Okay, Belky, I really,
Busy?
We need to talk about this because it's otherwise it's gonna be fucking pod fod, and I don't do this today.
But which one? I
Okay.
can't even remember.
It's what are we
I don't know if
doing?
I'm gonna do anything today. This is like simultaneously so exciting and so frustrating.
Yo, what if it's we don't do meetings, we only do podcasts. So if you want to talk to I don't
If you want to talk to us, you're coming on the pod. And this
It
guy's
better be
reading
juicy.
Radical Honesty.
and this guy
Good luck.
Good luck.
And
Hey,
I could get behind Radical Honesty. It goes against every bone inside me, but like I could get
hey,
behind it.
That's what I was thinking about last night. I'm like, so everyone, whenever we like meet people, and I'm like, oh yeah, Henry's awesome. Like I literally, they'll say this and I say this. It's like everyone gets along with you, like you're.
It's
like out of it's
'cause
like
I'll
that is your
sugarcoat.
superpower.
I'll
Is
just
like
sugarcoat shit.
you throw you in a room and you'll be friends with everybody, and it's like it's just fucking amazing. But
Yeah,
it
that's really
comes with
nice.
like agreeableness.
Oh, completely. This comes from my dad.
Yeah.
He's the most agreeable dude I know.
Right. So that's why this shit, as I fucking fountain spit, this is just like, it's nice. It's a great feeling. Like I was thinking about it last night, and I'm like, oh, there's all these pent up things, and when you just get it out there, there's like no decision choice fatigue of like, oh, what should I say? It's just like say what you feel. What you feel is the truth, and like that's just the truth. React how you want.
It's funny. Well, is that the end of the point?
For the yeah.
Well, because what's funny in the AJ Jacobs blog post, where I think you were probably introduced to Radical Honesty, he'd be in a meeting with like this woman from the PR team he's working with or something, and he would just tell her like, "I'm staring at your boobs."
right.
And I forget what the back and forth was, but like that was his Radical Honesty he was practicing.
Right.
It's a really funny read.
I know. I've had some issues with I try to be pretty so here's my issue. Okay. I like our whole friend group blowing up was largely because like I wasn't willing to change. I'm just like,
Oh,
yo,
yeah, you
I'm just
just-
into this shit, and I think they just didn't like the truth, and that's why it was nice because like there was a clean breakup because I was just like, these are my goals.
Yeah.
I like hanging out with you, but when I'm like, I want to talk to girls or I want to do whatever, you are no longer the priority. If you're cool with that, and that's why I love hanging out with Jack. I love hanging out with Matt because it's very clear. We're having fun together. But if we're hanging out for like 3 hours and a cute girl goes by, fucking go for it. Like I'm gonna do the same. It's just like we're gonna see each other again. You're never gonna see that girl again. So that's the vibe, and that's why I like connect with those people. But I'm embracing that and want to
Hey,
get
I
better
like
at
that
it.
we're getting into personal gossip.
It all comes back. Okay. Last thing.
Wait, so Vizzy, is that everything on Radical Honesty? That was good. Yes, my agreeableness comes from my dad. I know it's both a superpower and a fault. Because, well, go back to like Dunbar days. My agreeableness got me into a lot of sticky situations.
Right.
That I had to be radically honest later on.
Well-
but unwinding them is hard.
That's the thing. Prevention is so much better than
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
right.
Right.
And
And radical honesty is the prevention. And
Right.
the ultimate weeder.
Well, that's why I was like, yo, basically everyone on the team, this was with Hassan too, but I was like, Tony, she's been telling me this for a while. I just don't internalize it, but I'm like, yo, tell me up front. Like I was being lazy. I didn't watch their edit, but you should be okay with saying, hey, I watched this. It's boring. It's not going to make good content. Here are my suggestions. Like y'all are around content more than us. You know what's good. You know what's entertaining. So if you don't believe in the edit, tell us.
Right.
We want to hear, like, again, the truth is the truth. It's just out there.
I think that it's just a job security thing. They're worried about pushing back.
I know. And
So
that's
we need
why.
to keep making clear, because I make the same mistakes, that like you can push back and just if your conviction is there, put your chips behind it. You're like, this isn't it.
Oh, I love that. How Netflix, their culture is
Right.
like, you have all these chips. If you want to put like a fuckload of them into this because you believe it so firmly, you're taking that risk. But like, sure, you might have a big reward, and now you have more chips to like. Now we trust you more, and like every opinion you have is worth more. Just like you have your chips,
Yeah.
and put them
You
where.
can make your $100,000 gamble if your convictions are there and we trust. Like we're gonna be behind you.
Right.
But just understand, like if that doesn't work out or you can't recover from that thing, then
And she
you're
was
probably
very
gone.
clear, like, hey, I don't believe in this project anymore.
Yeah.
So, last thing. Okay. What the fuck do we want to do with Instagram and Twitter? Because
Oh,
what I realized, these Naval edits are fucking sick, dude. They're so sick.
I know, but what I told you is you're probably going to think they're sick for a little while. Then we do a ton of them, and you're just like, eh. That's like what happens with everything.
But Visualize Value has been doing so. I looked at Visualize Value's
Hey, you're
Instagram.
calling someone, Pop?
Oh fuck no!
Who is that?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Was that Vizzy?
I don't know.
Hey, check.
Airplane mode.
Check.
Airplane mode.
No, check. Get him on the pod.
No, it was a missed call, and then I accidentally swiped to call back.
I hope so.
But everything's
That'll derail you,
okay.
Pop.
No. So Visualize Value, he built his whole brand off this black and white photos, and I'm
Jack
like,
Butcher at Visualize Value.
yeah, and they all think it's just like Vizzy messaged me as if it's just like me editing this content,
This is a problem we face. It happens with me and All In.
which basically yesterday we were talking about, do we make a smart nonsense or a clipped Twitter and Instagram? We already have the Twitter. Instagram we're kind of lazy on. I use it just for my habits and like fucking reels because I like that shit. But beyond that, we don't really want to fuck with it. I don't want to manage a social media account. But then, so we basically decided Henry's going to post on Twitter. I'm going to post on Instagram. Henry, because he's already got clout, and me, because I want to have more followers so girls think I'm cooler. That's literally it. And then my
Radical
contention
honesty.
this morning was like, Visualize Value. If you're a creative agency, like we have no good portfolio.
Correct.
So it's nice if you can just go on Instagram and you see the gallery of like, oh, this is everything I produced. Like, we don't need a website. We can get by longer without a website. And Visualize Value is like, just take our Naval edits and just make a channel. We could make a channel just out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Oh.
I was like, what if we scaled this? This is a company just in itself. And I'm like, it literally is making Jack Butcher millions of dollars a year. I'm like, what if we built the fuck out of that?
It is his style completely, though.
I know. I
Something
wouldn't
similar.
I wouldn't necessarily want to do it, but I'm like, I know now our brains are dead, so it's not really gonna work as a good like brainstorming session. But
No,
it's I'm excited about the opportunity about how amazing this style is.
correct. And what we came to yesterday is neither of us want to be posting on Instagram. And if we're not doing it in full
But-
force, then like,
If it was like, I also don't want to post all this shit and just turn my own channel into a business channel or whatever.
right, it's becomes spam.
But it's like,
and the nice thing about Twitter is you can, because there's no unified portfolio.
right. But
You-
we
you
kind of want the unified portfolio in a sense.
For the company, sure. For your personal Instagram, no.
right. So,
So
I'm
we
like,
were saying personally we would share everything on Twitter. We wouldn't on Instagram because it
Right.
kind of lives there and it's annoying.
so now I'm like, this Naval edit is sick. And it's only going to be on Naval's account. Like, I just saw Jack Butcher has 300,000 followers in like a year on his Instagram. And just off of one style. Granted, I think it's because of the style. Like, if we had too many styles, it'd also get confusing. And why would we be posting like David Sachs fleeting?
Oh, so you're
videos.
thinking now you're back at Smart Nonsense Instagram.
I don't know. I'm like, or do I want to post this stuff on
personally,
my
right.
personal account too? But I feel like it's a wasted.
Now that's interesting because he's got Jack Butcher and he's got Visualize Value. And he didn't post Visualize Value stuff on his personal Twitter. What's up with that?
But the thing is, we're like the conglomerate where we have all these different styles. Like, Visualize Value is beautiful because you look in the gallery and it's all the same aesthetic. We don't have that. So I would just post like our own podcast clips probably on my channel, but I wouldn't want to post like Naval or David Sachs or like any Ali Abdal. Like, why would I post that on my personal thing? That's just weird.
Yeah.
So do we waste it, or is there a use for it on Instagram?
Oh, we're back at yesterday. This is
I
tricky.
know. Well, I just realized the opportunity because we cracked the code on this style, and this style I think would apply to so many wise people. And so like Bill Gates would want this style. Like all of the top people in the world, this is what they actually want because they want to transcend themselves. They just want the message to be out there.
Yeah, it's
and
really
we
clean.
figured that out. Well, we didn't even figure it out. Jack figured it out, and we just took his
And then
his,
Nico blew it up.
right. He took
What a
the
beast.
JPEG version and made it into a movie, and it's like, okay.
Nico's our animator.
So I guess
I guess we got to figure that out. I
We'll
gotta
update everybody
I gotta
at
sign
tomorrow.
off. I'm not
I
I'm not competing.
okay.
I'm not competing. You have anything else?
No. Maybe we'll have an answer tomorrow. I mean, it sounds like we're shooting these every day now.
Wait, yeah. What's the deal with the schedule?
Oh well.
We were gonna shoot Monday,
Here's
Tuesday.
the fucking
Now it's
problem.
Tuesday. We shot 2 podcasts this morning.
I can't deal with the pod fod. I fucking can't deal with it.
That is the biggest problem we face.
Well, our we just add it to the agenda, and we have this at the start of the day.
I don't think we realized it till the end of Iceland, because we hadn't been away for that long. We were just talking all day. We were doing business all day, and then you had this brain blast at the end of Iceland, and we're like, dude, pod fod, and we can't live together. We spent all morning needing to talk about business and being like, pod fod.
When we had our anti goals, we're like, oh, we're gonna go into business together.
So
like this,
silly.
these are the ways it fails. This was not one of the ways we anticipated. It's like we hang out too much, so we have no content.
So
for
fruitful.
Right.
Our conversations are so fruitful that they will blow up the podcast, the company, the media agency, the product.
What we
How
could
about
do,
that?
what we could do, is you get one of those little like this fucking lav mics. We just walk around lav mic'd all day.
All day
Long. We sync it in the morning. We walk around all day. All the trade secrets are out there. But we would
That would just take so much editing. It would take so much having to go through. So
well, then
we're
we'd
also,
actually get canceled.
we'd probably get canceled. No, we're not that bad. We're not that bad.
Did you know what happened right before we hit record?
I don't
You're like,
remember, but
there-
I do remember this shouldn't be on the record.
Okay.
I don't remember. No, I remember saying this is not on the record. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Follow.
Easy. What was I saying? We gotta go, Pop.
Well, recording 24/7 with our lav mics. I don't know what you're gonna say. The solution, I think, was we take all the juiciest stuff, we save it till the morning or till the night, and we're always strapped and ready to shoot a pod within 12 hours.
Okay, we gotta be strapped. See ya.
All right.